begin again. So this topic sheds some light on precision and effectiveness in writing, which depends on the careful use of the future forms of language. So one must learn to recognize the words, you must learn to recognize phrases, and you also must learn forms that will convey your meaning exactly and clearly to the reader or to the people listening to you as you read. So you are supposed, or you must also reject any word, phrase, or form that is flabby. You talk about flabby is something that is not grammatically correct and worn out. Sometimes we say rusty, yeah? You avoid rusty language. So what are some of the objectives of this particular unit? Some of the objectives are, by the end of this topic, you must be able to understand, the various common future forms that are available and how and when to use them. So you must understand the various future forms that are available and how and when to use them. When you talk about future forms, we are talking about in future. I will do this. In future, I am going to do this. So that is it. So the second thing, or the second objective, is that we are supposed to be able to outline and reject any word, any phrase or phrases or form that is flabby and worn out in any article. You never know, Emma. You might land in an organization and you might become maybe the chief editor or an editor. So you must be very keen to see those flabby and worn out phrases in an article. Another thing, you must also be able to explain the various future forms that are available in English grammar. As I said, we have various future forms. Some people don't know how to use the future forms, but from today, we are going to look at how to use the future forms and how many future forms we have in English. So English language usually have several forms, which expresses future events. We said when you talk about future events, we're talking about what is going to happen in future. So the form that we have chosen will depend on how sure we are that something will happen. Like when you say it will rain tomorrow, you are sure that it will happen. When you say that we will have a class tomorrow, you are sure that we are going to have an English class tomorrow or an English cat tomorrow. Whether we want something to happen or whether we are talking about ourselves or others. Like when you want to talk about yourself, you will say, when I'm done with my course, I want to be. You see, you're using the word I want to be a journalist. And then you're looking at, in this particular topic, we are also going to look at aspects. Aspect is much more important than time. We are going to learn that. So the first future form that you are going to look at is, the first one is will. Will is a future form. So when you say, I will do this, I will do that, I will become a journalist after I'm done with my course, you are using what we call future forms. So let's look at what will stands for. So it is a modal auxiliary verb. So if somebody asks you what it is, then we can say that will is a modal auxiliary verb. It is a modal auxiliary verb. Will is a modal auxiliary verb. I hope you can see that in our shared notes. Because when I use what we call share screen, it brings about what we call, there is what we call scratching and so on and so forth. So there is, will is a modal auxiliary verb. So if it is a modal auxiliary verb, it has a number of possible meanings. So when you say will, it has a number of possible meanings. And 4 of the most common are certainly. So when you say will, it means surely it will happen. Certainly I will become a journalist. Certainly it will rain. So it has more common meaning. So certainly. The next one is habitual characteristics. Habitual characteristics. When you talk about characteristics, is something that happens. You know it always happen. Like tomorrow night I will. You see, when you're talking about night, every day there is always a night and a day. There is a day and a night. When you say tomorrow morning I will give you, or I will pay you your debts. I will pay your debts. That means that it is habitual. Mornings and days and afternoons and the seasons of the day are habitual. They happen every now and then. So you cannot say that we are not going to have tomorrow. You're not going to have an evening tomorrow or something. It is something habitual. The next one is volition. When you talk about volition, we are saying that it's a wish, it is a decision, it is a choice, or it is a desire. So when you're using will has got the following meanings. Number one, we have said it is certainly, so you are sure it will happen. Habitual, that means it happens daily, so it will happen tomorrow. And volition. Volition means that it will, it is a choice, and it is a desire. Then, or it is a willingness. It is willingness. Volition is willingness. And then it also means instant decision. Instant decision. So context tell us whether the certainty is about the present. Habitual characteristics is context tells us that whether certainty is about present. Habitual characteristics is something that is shown regularly. Like we have said, night and day, evening, morning, or in short, we are talking about the seasons of the day is habitual. It was observed in the past, can be observed in the present, and will presumably be observed in future. That is when we use what? Will. So it is not possible to know of a future habitual characteristic unless you are certain. So we can call it certainty or certainty. So we do not use this form for purely future reference. So again, when you talk about volition, volition denotes an offer. It can refer only to a future situation. Volition can refers to a future situation. Remember, we said that volition is willingness. So instant decision can be made only about a future situation and usually only reported by the person making the decision. We therefore usually encounter this meaning only with I or we as the subject. Like you say, I will, we will, something like that. So will can function as an auxiliary of the future in predicting a future event. It can function as an auxiliary of the future in predicting a future event. So let's look at the uses of a will. Let's look at the uses of a will. We usually use it to make a simple statement of fact about something. We usually use, let me put it there so that we can all see. We usually use it. We use it to make a simple statement of fact about something which will definitely happen or not happen. An example in a sentence we can say two bodies of different mass will reach the ground at the same moment. Two bodies of different mass will reach the ground at the same moment. So that is a good example. Two bodies I've indicated there of different mass will reach the ground at the same moment. Another use of will is that we will use it to make a simple statement about future events that have been previously arranged. Let me project that. This is point B. We use it to make a simple statement about future events that have been previously arranged. For example, when you talk about wedding or meetings or classes, etc. Example, in a sentence, we can say, the meeting will begin at 9 a.m. Refreshment will be available from 8 onwards. Refreshments will be available from 8 onwards. Let me project that as an example. You see, we are talking about something that will happen. Like we have said that we use it to make a simple statement about future events that have been previously arranged. So the meeting will begin at 9 a.m. Refreshments will be available from 8:30 onwards. Another use of the term will is we use it to do what? We use it when we talk about something that we think is likely to happen in the future. We use it when we talk about something that we think will happen in the future. Somebody can give us a sentence there. Come up with a sentence that shows that you're talking about something that we think is likely to happen in the future. Emma?
It will rain tomorrow.
Irene?
The students will be opening schools next year.
Yvette? Yvette, we are waiting.
The sun will shine tomorrow.
And the sun will shine tomorrow. So that is something that will happen in the future. Like I have my sentence there, tomorrow will be warm and sunny. Tomorrow will be warm and sunny. That's a very good example of telling us what will happen in future. Let's look at the last meaning of will. We use it to express ideas. We use it to express ideas of willingness and spontaneous intention at the moment of speaking. So maybe somebody can try that. Let me project it first. Let me put it on shared notes. We use it to express ideas of willingness and spontaneous intention at the moment of speaking. Who will try that? I think Yvette can try that. You are expressing an idea of willingness and an intention at the moment of speaking. Yvette, we are waiting, or it is difficult. Or you are taking breakfast.
Can I try?
Yes, Irene.
I will be there when you need me.
Irene has tried.
Is it correct?
Emma. Yvette has some problem. Emma?
I will help you.
A very good example is the one that I'm sharing right now. It is agreed. It is agreed. If the meeting is arranged at 5 p.m., I will pick you up at 4. That's very nice. Okay, all of us are right, but it is agreed. The best one is, it is agreed. If the meeting is arranged at 5 p.m., I will pick you up at 4. Or maybe you are telling somebody, when we have, when after we have our lunch tomorrow at 2 p.m. or at 12 p.m., I will take you there. That's nice. That's a very good example. So let's look at another example of what we call will. Remember, we are talking about future forms. So let's look at another example, and this is actually the last one, but not least. We are talking about the last one, but not least, and this one is we use it for habitual characteristics. Habitual characteristics. Habitual characteristics are things that usually happens every now and then. Or maybe you can talk about the habit of somebody. You know, obviously this person will do what? Will do something, will do the usual thing the way he does it. So a good example is Andrea, or we can say Adana, will sit at her desk for hours without saying a word. I hope, Yvette, you're not like that. You go to class, you sit for an hour without saying a word. This is what she often does. So habitual characteristics can refer even to what? To the behaviors of somebody. Huh? Like if you're used to dressing maybe a white skirt, we can usually say, Irene will wear a white skirt tomorrow, because it has been found that that is what you wear. Come rain, come sunshine, you only have one skirt. So is there any question on the use of a future form will? Remember, we call it a modal auxiliary verb. Modal auxiliary verb. Yvette, do you have a question? I can see you on and off. I don't know what is happening.
I don't have a question.
Good. So if there is no question, we can move to the other one, which is number 2. So we have looked at will, and we have said that we use it to make a simple statement. We use it to make a simple statement about future events. We use it when we talk about something that we think is likely to happen in the future. And we use it to express ideas of willingness and spontaneous intention at the moment of speaking. We also use it for habitual characteristics. Like, for example, somebody has a certain behavior. And we said Andrea will sit at her desk for hours without saying a word. That is a habit that Andrea has. So they are very sure it will happen tomorrow. So let's look at something else. Another future form is going to. It is going to rain tomorrow. So let's look at going to, and we are saying it is common in speaking. It is common in speaking and in informal writing. So you find that we use it in speaking and always in informal writing. As it shows a predetermined intention. It shows a predetermined intention. It is a way of referring to future events which expresses a strong aspect. So it expresses it is a way of referring to a future event which expresses a strong aspect. So the time of the event is less important. Time of the event is less important. So let's look at the main use of going to. Going to is another future form. So number one is going to. We use the form going to plus verb when we refer to the plans, decisions, and intentions. So if you are referring to a decision, a plan, or an intention, then we use the future form going to. For example, in a sentence, we can say, what are you going to do when you leave school? What are you going to do when you leave school? Maybe Yvette can tell us, what are you going to do when you leave school? Yvette, what are you going to do when you leave school?
I'm going to look for a job.
You are going to look for a job. Irene, what are you going to do when you leave school? Remember, this one is to leave school, not to finish. Like, for example, sometimes you come to realize that you are giving your parents headache. Maybe when you were in high school, you don't like school, and then your parent will ask you this question. What will you do, or what are you going to do when you leave school right now and you are very young? Those are the questions. So we use the form of going to plus a verb when we refer to the plans, decisions, and intentions. Like when you ask, what are you going to do when you leave school? Another example is, John has changed his mind. John has changed his mind. He isn't going to marry Stephanie after all. This is a very bad decision, especially to this lady called Stephanie. So John has changed his mind. He isn't going to marry Stephanie after all. So this is a plan. This is another plan John has made. Anyway, we go to the next use of the word going to. The next use of the word going to is that it is also used to predict a future event for which there is some evidence now. It's also used to do what? To predict future event for which there is evidence now. So let's look at an example. They are looking very angry. They are looking very angry. I think they are going to start throwing stones. Some students are like this, especially university students. Whenever they are angry with something small, the only thing they think of is throwing stones. So they are looking very angry. I think they are going to start throwing stones. So when you're talking about going to, Going to has got only two uses, unless there is a question. If there is no question, then we look at the present continuous tenses. The present continuous tense. If there is no question, we look at the present continuous tense. Present continuous tense. Maybe somebody can give us an example of a present continuous tense. Yvette. An example of a present continuous tense. Yvette ameshindwa. So anyway,
I'm singing in church today.
that word today is not nice. So present continuous tense. So we can say that it is used to express an arrangement. It is usually used to express an arrangement, usually for the near future. So when you say today, Yvette, that is not the near future. That is today. So today is not future, but today is present. So in the near future, it is used to express an arrangement, usually for the near future. So when you talk about plans, decisions, or intentions, on the basis of present facts, the difference in meaning between the present continuous and going to is very slight. So there is a very slight difference on the difference in meaning between present continuous and going to. So the use of present continuous indicates that we have a firm intention, and we have a solid intention to have made a definite decision to do something, although this may not already be arranged. For example, when you say, "Are you seeing the doctor again next week?" we can still say, or "Are you going to see the doctor next week?" Are you seeing the doctor again next week? So we can replace it with, "Are you going to see the doctor next week?" But when you look at, "Are you seeing the doctor next week?" that one there is a solid what? A solid intention, as opposed to, "Are you going to see the doctor next week?" It is just simply like that. So when you talk about present continuous tense, we have said it is used to express an arrangement, usually for the near future. A very good example of a present continuous tense is, "I am going to start a new job on Monday." I'm going to start a new job on Monday. Or you can actually say, "I am starting a new job on Monday." So the first sentence, "I'm going to start a new job on Monday," it emphasizes more on my decision. On my decision. The next one, "I'm starting a new job on Monday," it emphasizes on the change which will now take place according to plan. Like I'm repeating it again. "I am starting a new job on Monday." It emphasizes more the change which will now take place according to plan. Maybe I can put them down so that we can read them. I'm going to start a new job on Monday. That is the first sentence. And the second sentence is, I'm starting a new job. I'm starting a new job on Monday. I'm starting a new job on Monday. So when you look at the first sentence, I'm going to start a new job on Monday. That one, it emphasizes more on someone's decision. That you are telling your listeners something about yourself or something about myself. So it emphasizes on the decision that you have taken. And now you are telling your listeners about yourself. The second one says, I am starting a new job. I am starting a new job. That means this person had a job already, but now he is starting another one. So it emphasizes more on the change. I am starting a new job. It means that this person had a job. Now he has found another one. So it actually says it emphasizes more on the change that will now take place according to plan. So at this juncture, the writer wants the listener to know more about the new job. Any question? Yvette, are we okay?
Yes, we're okay.
Now tell us the difference. I want to see whether you have understood. I am going to start a new job on Monday. What does it mean?
I'm going to start a new job on Monday. It's like maybe you are telling someone about yourself. So you tell them, I'm going to start a new job on Monday.
And the other one?
Then
I am starting a new job on Monday.
I'm starting a new job on Monday. It seems like change. Maybe he had another job, but on Monday he will be going to another one. So he is starting a new job on Monday. That's change.
Yes, that is right. And when you're talking about this, the second statement, I'm starting a new job on Monday, he wants people to ask him or her about the new job. So that is the present continuous tense. Present continuous tense. We move to something else still under what we call the present continuous tense, but this time round, we are looking at the present simple tense. So the present simple tense is used to express a future event which is seen as being certain because of a timetable or a calendar. The present simple tense is used to express a future event which is seen as being certain. Remember, certain is you are sure it will happen because of a timetable or calendar. That is something that is published or fixed. Like when you talk about tomorrow, I will have a class. I will have an English class tomorrow at 11. Or when you talk about today is Wednesday. Next week on Wednesday at 11, I will be having media management. I'll be having English for beginning journalists or English for journalists. You see, now you are certain. And therefore, that one falls under the present simple tense. A very good example is, what time does the film start? Because there is a fixed period of time. There is a fixed timings for that whatever to start. What time does the cat start? Another one is the famous Wimbledon Championship always take place between late June and the beginning of July. Like when you're telling somebody about next semester will start on 4th May to 15th, maybe August. You see, that is certain. It is something that is timetabled. It is something that we know that it will happen like that. So those ones we call the present simple tenses. Present simple tenses. Remember, present simple tenses are things that have been timetabled. Present simple tenses. Let me put it down. Simple tenses. So present simple tenses, we have said that they are usually timetabled. These are events that are timetabled or they have been scheduled. Actually, scheduled is the right word. So we use the present simple tense to refer to the future in time. Clauses with conjunctions such as after, as soon as, before, by the time, when, while, etc. Like when you use the word, when you see Dave, tell him he still owes me some money. Then from there we go to the future continuous tense. Future continuous tense. Future continuous tense. I hope there is no question on present simple tense. Present simple tense, we have talked about it, things that have been arranged, things that have been scheduled. Those ones are the ones that we use. Those ones, I mean, when you're speaking, using and you're referring to something that has been timetabled, then you are using what we call present simple tenses. Like tomorrow at 10, we have a class. That is a present simple tense. Then we have the future continuous. Future continuous is used to talk about something that is predicted to start before a particular point of future time, and that may continue after this point. So in short, we are saying it expresses an activity that will be in progress around a specific time in the future. For example, we can, or maybe we can say that one of the example, we can put them like this. It is often the result of a previous decision or arrangement. So it is often the result of a previous decision or arrangement. For example, we can say she will be taking up her place at the University of Oxford in October. A very good example of the future continuous tense, we can say she will be taking up her place at the University of Oxford in October. Another example of future continuous tense, we talk about it. Actually, we talk about future activity that is part of the normal course of events, or that is one of the repeated or regular series of events. For example, we can say Dr. Jones will be giving the same talk in room 103 at 10 p.m. next Thursday. Now, that is future continuous form. Okay, remember again, we had not finished with the future forms. Remember, we talked about will and going to. Will and going to. So we continue with our future forms. Is there any question? Kuna swali? Or before we continue with our future form, maybe we can look at the future perfect tense. Future perfect tense. Yvette, can you give us an example of the future perfect tense and tell us when we use it? Then Irene and then Emma. So Irene, Yvette, you will start. Irene, then Emma. Hey, what is happening? Yvette, Irene and Emma are
Yes.
waiting for you. The future perfect tense.
The future perfect tense. I will have slept tomorrow.
I will have slept tomorrow.
Yes.
Are you sure of that?
Future perfect tense. Yes.
Aya, Emma.
Future perfect tense. And example, Jennifer will have finished the report by 10 a.m. tomorrow.
The other one is Irene.
The teacher will submit his documents next year.
Yeah, I think you are all right. Huh? So when you talk about future perfect tense, it expresses an action that will have finished before a definite time in the future. The continuous form is used to show the duration of the activity at a point in the future. For example, so when we actually use it to say something that will be ended, completed, or achieved by a particular point in the future. For example, when we say by the time you receive this letter, I will have left Kenya. By the time you will receive this letter, I will have left Kenya. Also, another example, I will call you at 7. I will call for you at 7. And another one is, by the end of this course, students will have learned how to cope with the most common grammar mistakes in journalism, like the way we started. So when you talk about the future perfect tense, it actually emphasizes the duration of an activity in progress at a particular time in the future. It expresses or it emphasizes the duration of an activity in progress at a particular point in the future. Like we can say, next year I will have been working. Next year I will have been working in the company for 15 years. So this one is saying that by next year, he will have been working in the company for 15 years. So the first thing that we learned here, we looked at the future forms. Number one, we looked at will. We also looked at going to. The next one, which is number 3, we are going to look at is to. Is to. We're going to look at is to. And when you talk about is to is used to do these. These are the uses of is to. Like when you say is excuse me kidogo tu, just 1 minute. So just like is going to, just like will is to, we are saying here we are talking about an obligation to do something. It is similar to a must and have to, but it emphasizes on the fact that certain plans or arrangement have been made for us. An example in a sentence, we can say, nobody is going to leave. Nobody is going to leave. Nobody is going to leave the room until the examination is over. So you can see is to. I've highlighted is to there. So nobody is going to leave the room until the examination is over. So that's one of the uses of is to. We have said an obligation is used to show an obligation to do something. An obligation to do something. The next one, it is commonly used. It's commonly used. It is commonly used in news reports to talk about events that are likely to happen in near future. So is to is used in news reports to talk about events that are likely to happen in the near future. For example, we can have a sentence, the main Rome to Naples railway line is to be reopened today. The main Rome to Naples railway line is to be opened today. The main Rome in Naples railway line is to be opened today. I'm sharing that. The main Rome in Naples railway line is to be opened today. Or when you say the school is to be opened tomorrow, or is to be opened tomorrow at 10, or something like that. That is what you're talking about. Is to is there, is to be opened today. Another reason, the other use of is to is that we find it formal or official arrangement. We find it in formal or official arrangement. Let me show this. So we usually find it in informal or on official or in official arrangement. For example, the European Parliament is to introduce a new law on safety at work. The European Parliament is to introduce a new law on safety at work. So we find it in formal or official arrangement. The next one is the next what we call the feature form is about to. Let's look at about to. Is about to. When you talk about to, we are saying that we use it to emphasize that something will happen very soon. About to is used to emphasize that something will happen very soon. For example, the boat is about to leave. The boat is about to leave. And another one is, I think that one is good. That one is good. The class is about to start. So when we use is about to, we are emphasizing that something will happen very soon. The teacher is about to start classes. So it is commonly used in conversation. A very good example when we use it in conversation is we are just about to eat. Do you want to join us? We are about to eat. Do you want to join us? Another example, etc. Another one is what we call shall. Shall is another what we call future form. Future form, shall. So at this point, it is already 12. Is there any question, first of all? Yvette, do you have any question before we proceed to shall?
No.
Irene?
No question.
Emma, do you have any question?
No.
No, because we don't have any question, there is always something that you need to do. Always something that you need to do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to attach a video, a YouTube video just right away that talks about the feature forms. You will watch the video, then after watching the video, you are going to comment on what you have read. Now I'm going to leave what is called a discussion forum. So you just comment on what you have learned about the feature forms. Tumeelewana? Emma, and don't run away. Some of you usually run away and you leave others to do that. So I'm going to attach what we call a YouTube video. So you're going to listen to that YouTube video, and then after listening it, you contribute to what you have learned, especially for other for other future forms that I've not told you. There is shall. Shall is one of them. So you will write on other future forms that I have not told you, that you have learned from the video. So usiniandikie zile ambazo tumesoma already, uniandikie zile ambazo hatujasoma. Now one of them is shall. Shall is a future form. Kama Emma, tuseme kwa mfano ukichukua shall, Irene, you should not take it. You should have a different one. That's what I mean. Other future forms that we use in English and how they are used and examples. That is what you're going to put after watching the video that I'm going to attach in the next, just give me like 5 minutes. Then refresh your page and check. You will see. Kuna swali? Yvette, question?
No question.
Irene, question?
Irene?
No question.
Emma, do you have a question?
No.
Yeah, that is what I'm going to do right away. So give me 5 minutes, then refresh the page.